Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam. So, uh, we were reading Bhagavad Gita with camp commentaries of Vedanta Acharya Srila Baladev Vidyabhushan Prabhu, and for past 3 months I had my class 12 board examination, so therefore I couldn't upload any such videos. But from now we are again continuing with our journey of Bhagavad Gita. So let's start chapter 1, verse number 36. So पापमेवाश्रये तस्मान् अत्वैतानातदायिनः तस्मान् नारावयं मन्तुं धार्तराष्ट्रान् स्वबान्धवं स्वजनं हि कथं मत्वा सुखिनः स्याम माधवम्. So impiousness or papa evashraya dasman. So asman atvaitan atatainah. So in killing atvaitan atatainah, killing the atatai, uh, we would incur evashraya, we would be covered or incur impiousness or papa. Tasman narah vayam hantum. So we should not. So tasman narah vayam hantum dhartarashtan sabandhavam. So why should we kill? Why should we kill the son of Dhritarashtra and Swabandhavam, which means their relative or their companion, the people who were fighting on the behalf of Duryodhan. Swajanam hi katham hatva sukhina syama madhava. Oh Madhava, how can we incur or how can we live happily, sukhina, after killing hatva, our swajan? So Arjun is considered. So now we have to look the temperament of both the parties. So here, on one side, we have Duryodhan, who only thing Duryodhan and even let us speak also about his father Dhritarashtra, who considers the Pandav or the son of Pandu as their foe, as their enemy, and doesn't even consider them as their any bloodline relatives. So on the other hand, we can see here the pious, compassionate Arjun, and even the whole Pandava army, especially the Pandavas, is concerned. So they are acting more like, and they also consider their Duryodhan and even the Kauravas, who were actually trying their best means to do harm to the Pandava faction, but still they are in such a pious position that they always consider them to be their own relatives, and therefore they don't want to do any such kind of permanent harm or any lethal harm to them. So these are the two main kind of temperament we can see between Duryodhan and Arjun. So if we read the translation, it states that in killing Atva, aggressors, which means Atataina means aggressors, or we can also say the one who disturbs the peace or equilibrium, or we can say the state of peace of any other person, living being, or nature. So they are called as Atataina. Within one word, we can say a disturbance to the Mother Earth. We will only incur sin. So here Arjuna is saying that even if they are Atataina, so then also if we kill them, we would incur sin. So it would be impious. So therefore, we should not kill the sons of Dhritarashtra along with their relatives. Swabandhavam. O Madhava. O Madhava. So O Madhava. O Krishna. How we can live happily? How we can live happily? By killing Atva Swajanam. Swajanam hi katham Atva. So after killing Atva, our own relatives, Swajanam. So how can we live happily? Sukhina. O Madhava, please tell me. So here, if we see the commentary by Vedanta Acharya, he is quoting a shloka from Vashishta Smriti that Agnidogaradasya Shastrapanir Dhanapah Kshetradhara Pahari cha Shad ete Yatatainah. So here, who is Atatainah? So here it is more explained in a more descriptive manner and in a more precise way. That Agnido Garadaschaiva, Garada, which means I guess it's mostly like a poison. Okay. Achha. So Agnido Garadaschaiva Shastra Panir, the one who attacks with a deadly weapon. Dhanapaha. Dhanapaha, sorry, not Dhanapaha. It's Dhanapaha, which means that one who steals one's wealth. Dhanapaha. Kshetra, which means property. Darapahari. Apahari, of whom? One's wife. Shad ete ya atatainah. So these six kind of the people who indulge in these six kinds of activities are mainly called as atatainah. So one who poisons, or one who attacks with a deadly weapon, one who steals one's wealth, one who steals property, one who steals a wife of one's dharma patni. So Agnido, an arsonist. I don't know what this means. So there is the sixth one. I don't know the meaning actually. So I need to first check it out. That what does Agnido means, and I don't even know what the meaning of arson is. So I can't actually relate it. So one who poisons, one who attacks with weapon, the stealer of property, stealer of one's wife are considered as aggressors or atataina. It is also stated in the Vashishta Smriti. And also it is said that atatainam ayantam anya deva vicharayam natatai vadhe dosho antur bhavati kasyana. So, okay, okay. So there should be atataina. So these, the people who relate themselves with atatai or aggressor, mm, they should be hanyad. They should be killed. Eva vicharayan natatai vadhe dosho hantur bhavati kaschana. So here, if we read the translation, it clearly says that without consideration, that means without any second thought, eva vicharayan, one should kill the aggressors as there is no fault in killing them. It is stated in the Manusmriti. So therefore, by scriptural injunction, by the rules provided in the scriptures, it is justified to kill the six type of aggressors. Obviously, because they first of all are not at all contributing to the world. Let's say even materially, they are not even contributing, and they are disrupting the value system of the nature. So why do they even exist? They clearly don't have a proper right to live in this, to live with Mother Nature. So in this verse, he replies to this argument. So having killed them, the sin caused by killing relative will come to us who remain. Okay. So here, as Arjun puts forward the argument that if we kill them, then the sin caused by killing the relative will come to us who remain. So it means that first of all, if we kill a relative of ours, and then the sin that we incur after killing our relative, it will definitely backfire on us after the battle or after the murder has been conducted. So this means that the statement of Artha Shastra or Artha Shastra. I have a confusion over here. Artha Shastra, as mentioned above, are weaker than the statements of Dharma Shastra. It should be Shastra, I think. It's not Shastra. Shastra means weapon, but Shastra means scriptural injunction or principles. So therefore, Artha Shastra, as mentioned above, are weaker than the statements of Dharma Shastra, such as Mahimsya Sarva Bhutani, which means that Ahimsa Parama Dharma, kind of like that. It's not fully, obviously, but it's not Paramo Dharma. According to our Vaishnav injunction, that Ahimsa is a very important dharma to follow if one wants to proceed in the path of spiritual advancement. But actually, it is not the Paramo Dharma or the ultimate duty. So do not afflict living entity. Do not afflict any living entity. For the Smriti also says, Artha Shastrat to Balavad Dharma Shastramiti Sthitihi, which means that Dharma Shastra is of greater priority than Artha Shastra. Okay. The rules of Dharma Shastra are stronger than those of Artha Shastra, as we discussed earlier. That the Dharma Shastra are stronger than those of Artha Shastra. Where it is written, from where we can get the evidence. So it is written in Yajnavalkya Smriti. Therefore, killing Bhishma and others worthy of worship on the strength of the weaker Artha Shastra is certainly a cause of sin. So, first of all, according to Artha Shastra, if we kill respected persons such as Bhishma Dev and others, other respectable personality, then according to Artha Shastra, we would definitely incur sin. But according to Dharma Shastra, no sin would be incurred, because obviously we would read it in the after some of the shlokas, especially Lord Krishna or Bhagavan would give the definitive answer to this argument. Okay, so In this verse, Arjun concludes his statement which started with Na cha shreyo nupashyami in verse 31. So actually it's a continued form of dialogue that Arjun is speaking. Therefore, tasmat, because of commission of sin, because we earned the sin, also because we cannot achieve physical happiness in this life. So we should not kill the son of Dhritarashtra who are our relatives. So here again, Arjuna, in the commentary also, Vedantacharya shows the temperament of the pious Arjun, who is considering the fact that even after so much incidents that Duryodhan performed, uh, tried to harm the Pandavas, even after that, Arjun, as a pious personality, as a devotee, is considering them to be the relative. So he states that our enjoying the kingdom without our elders and friends meant for bringing happiness will actually bring sorrow. So here Arjun is also showing his selfless attitude. So a normal person, especially like me, such a lowly soul like me, would consider that, oh, I got such a great kind of possessions of property, of wealth by after winning it from my relatives, which may include the elderly family members or the other respected family member, and even my relatives and my close associates like my brother. So I may think that, okay, that I have earned this state of so-called happiness, but actually Arjun is thinking from a higher perspective, from a perspective of an enlightened soul, the perspective of a devotee. He states that we may think that after killing and winning the property and the kingdom, we may get happiness. But actually, without our elders, without our brothers, and without our dear relatives, we would actually get sorrow after sorrow and misery. O Madhava, okay, O Madhava, who is the husband of Lakshmi, which is goddess of auspiciousness, why do you instigate this war devoid of auspiciousness? So Vedanta Acharya incredibly tells this kind of commentary that, O Madhava, that means Krishna, you are the so goddess Lakshmi is your consort, and Lakshmi means auspiciousness. She is the embodied personification of all auspiciousness possible. So even after you, even as you are the possessor of the personified auspiciousness, why do you suggest a path where there would be negligible to no auspiciousness at all? Everything would be unauspicious. So why are you suggesting this kind of path or this kind of way to the as a solution? So the derivation of Madhav is here Ma meaning Lakshmi. So here, according to even Kalidas, Makara, Kalidas states kind of 10 words or 10 words starting with Ma. So here, Ma, Matsya, Markata, and even many other kind of Marut. So I don't remember perfectly the shloka, but Kalidas very beautifully explains all the 10 names, even in a serialized or a synchronized chronological manner, and he puts Ma, that means Lakshmi. It can also mean mother, but we are considering Lakshmi because it is a kind of main example, because all the motherly personalities are mostly the fragmented part of, or the part of the energy of goddess Lakshmi. So therefore, derivation of Madhava is here Ma meaning Lakshmi and Dhava meaning husband. So one who is possessor of Lakshmi. Okay. So next shlok. Okay. So it states that यद्यपेते न पश्यन्ति लोभोपातचेतसः कुलक्षयकृतं दोषं मित्रद्रोहे च पातकं कथं नाज्ञेयम् अस्माभिः आपादस्मान् निवर्तितुं कुलक्षयकृतं दोषं प्रपश्यद्भिर्जनार्दनम्. Okay. So यद्यपि, so even after ete pashanti lobhopahata chetasah, so their chitta, that is heart, is controlled by lobha, that means greed. So ete na pashyanti, they can't see the inauspiciousness which is lurking behind lurking behind after the immediate so-called victory in the war. So what would happen? So kulakshaya kritam dosham, that all the generation or the forefather or all the generation of our dynasty would kritam dosham, would acquire dosha, which means kind of sin, I think. And mitra drohe, why we would incur sin? Because for the reason of mitra drohe, mitra droha, which means the killing or betrayal of mitra or relative or friends or even brothers, if we say so. Cha patakam. Okay. कथम न ज्ञेयम अस्माभिः पापाद् अस्मान् निवर्तितुम्. Okay, कथम न ज्ञेयम अस्माभिः पापाद् अस्मान् निवर्तितुम् कुलक्षय कृतं दोषं प्रपश्यत् वीरजनार्दन. So the generation would obviously incur kulakshaya, which means deterioration of the auspicious or the glorious generation of our dynasty after acquiring the sin. Now he is addressing as Janardana. So let's read the translation for a better understanding, because I am a fool in Sanskrit, to be honest. So even if they, yadyapi, sorry, even if they, that means yadyapi, etena pashyanti lobho pahata. So overcome with greed, lobha, do not see, na pashyanti, the fault of destroying the family and sin in killing friend. So mitra drohe cha patakam. So destroying the family. So they do not see the aftermath or the after effects of destroying the family tree or the family generation, or the sin in killing the friends or relatives. Should not we who see the fault in destroying the family? So here Arjun is telling a beautiful perspective. Mainly in today's world, it includes me, myself, that we mostly see that, oh, that person is doing the wrong thing, then what is wrong and what is the bad? Suppose, let me put it like this, that suppose a person is doing kind of stuff or act which is not acceptable to the society. It might be mild, it can be severe. The act can be mildly bad, and it can be even severe. But we mostly tell, especially myself, that, oh, that person is also doing that same act, then why should I not do that? That means if he is doing it, what's wrong? What is the wrong in doing myself? It can be related to the stuff like a person who is littering the public places with garbage or waste product, and on seeing him, if I give the excuse that, oh, look, that person also littered or the place, then why would I be responsible as the only person who would be actually imposed that I am the only culprit? So what is the wrong if even I do the same thing? But here Arjun's telling that even if the other person doing a sinful or impious activity, it might be because of their ignorance, it might be because even after intentionally knowing that that thing or that act is not good, uh, as described by the societal conjunctions. So even after that, if he performs it, so we as a responsible and a knowledgeable person, if we are so, so we should not follow the footstep of that person and or even give excuse that he has done that, so why can't I? So that should not be the case. So we can learn this from the statement. So know how to withdraw from this sin. So because we know that first of all it's not correct, and we also know that there might be some other way to solve the problem. Oh, Janardhan, please answer my questions. Okay. So yeah. So now the commentary states that, but it is justified to take part in this war since they have invoked it. Okay, so actually, first of all, as a Kshatriya, especially for Arjun, as a Kshatriya, it is very much justified that he and the Pandavas faction can participate in the war front. Why? Because the battle was provoked in the first place by the Kauravas. The Pandavas tried their best, even Bhagavan Sri Krishna tried his best, and obviously he tried to do a peace treaty between the Pandavas and Kauravas, but they were so adamant and they were so stern in their decision to invoke the battle that they did it even after so many efforts from the Pandavas' part about a solution without so much bloodshed. But they were the only one who provoked and invoked this deadly battle. So, as a duty of a Kshatriya, it is to respect their decision, and even as the duty of the Kshatriya. Uh, so, therefore, there is no harm. The scriptures say that it is understood for a Kshatriya that he should not reject either a game of dice or a fight if challenged. So game of dice. So for a kshatriya, game of dice is also a kind of a. It can be taken into the phase of gambling. But as a kshatriya, because he is mainly a kshatriya, mainly situated in the mode of passion or rajagun, so therefore it is very much justified that yes, he can take part in the play of a game of dice maybe, and even in a fight if challenged. So if not challenged, then obviously it's the wish of that Kshatriya in the first place. But if challenged, then he has two options: either to give up, either to surrender, or to fight. So as a Kshatriya, it is worse than death, as Bhagavan would tell afterwards, uh, to lose even before fighting the battle, which means to surrender in the first place. So that's not the ideal method of the duty of a kshatriya. So it states that ahuto na nivartita dyutad ape ranad ape dyuta krira means a game of dice or maybe gamble related stuff, and rana means obviously battle, api which means also. Okay, next Arjuna answers this argument. Okay, so Arjuna also got answer to the argument in two verses. So he tells that being motivated by greed, they are inclined to sinful acts. So first of all, why they are performing sinful activities, why they are performing impious or papa. So because first of all they are covered by illusion of greed and lust. It can be bloodlust or even wealth lust or any other kind. So we, without having a greed, but as a person like us who know the consequences or the bad consequences of having greed, we do not have the inclination to commit sin because we don't have greed. So therefore, we know the consequence that may come if we act on the instinct of greed. So therefore, so we don't commit the sin most of the time. So consciousness of attaining an agreeable result alone should be the motivation. So what should be our consciousness or what should be our main goal? It should be to attain a agreeable result or a solution or a stance where, okay, so we should attain first of all, that means we should solve the situation or the problem, the diplomatic problem, by peace treaty or try our best to avoid the use of arms and ammunition. So but Arjuna is very much forgetting that they have tried every ounce of trial to convince the Kauravas to come under a peace treaty agreement and resolve the situation without taking up any kind of arms and weapons. But they were the ones who didn't listen. So the agreeable result should not be linked with undesirable result. So suppose the desired result is winning over a kingdom or getting our the designated part or portion of our property as an ancestral property. So I mean to say that suppose the agreeable terms or the desired result is to acquire our uh, right to a particular ancestral property. So that is our main agreement or the main outcome of a particular agreement. So it should not be linked with any kind of undesirable result like bloodshed, like the loss of lives, of innocent lives, so which are unnecessary. So for a particular desired result, if it comes with a too much amount of side effects or a too much amount of undesired results or catastrophe, so it should not be considered an option of solution. So फलतोपि च यत्कर्म नानार्थेनानुबध्यते केवल प्रीति हेतुत्वात् तद्धर्म इति कथ्यते. So it says that dharma is said to be that action performed only out of affection whose effect does not lead to evil. So many people has the doubt, and even I had the doubt that what is dharma. Obviously, Thakur Bhaktivinoda Mahasaya explains the concept of dharma in his great work of great scholarly work of Jaiva Dharma. But if we look from the Gita Bhushan Bhashya, we can see that it is said, it is quoted from the Shloka Vartika. It is stated that dharma, what is dharma? So dharma is nothing but, it is said to be the action, it is the duty or the action which is performed which only out of affection. Okay, so that means it would bring benefit to both the parties, and whose effect does not lead to any kind of evil. So that means that suppose a kind of agreement like A plus B results in C plus D. So therefore, the results such as C, if it is a kind of a desired result or a kind of result which is not evil, but D is a result where we are getting some evil side effects of the main effect. So then it's better to consider a different approach where both the results or both the products would be such that it only leads to goodness or auspiciousness. So therefore, though there are such Shruti statements so he also stated that though there are such Shruti statements such as Shenena Vicharan Yajita, one who wants to curse others should perform the Siena sacrifice. Okay, so I don't know what is Siena sacrifice, to be honest. So it is stated in Apastambha Shrauta Sutra. It is not proper for us to partake of this war because of its undesirable consequences. Because a lot of kingdoms and kingdoms is involved in this great battle of Mahabharata. So therefore, after the battle, we may get the desired result of getting our ancestral right of possession of our part of the kingdom, but it also comes at a cost. It also comes at a greater cost of the lives of innocent civilians and innocent people. So in this case, with the Siena sacrifice, so we have to perform the Siena sacrifice. The injunction of not refusing a challenge to fight relates to matters such as which do not bring about destruction of the family. Okay. So here, so in response to that comment where the scripture says that as a duty of a Kshatriya, he is obligated to fight in the battle because it is his dharma, it is his duty. But the injunction, that kind of scriptural injunction is related to a different context where the fight will not result in any kind of destruction of the family. The meaning of Janardhan is the same as the verse 35, therefore you should cause the suffering since you do not incur the sins. Okay, so we have read up till this, and today's date is 3/4/25, and we will continue the next part in the next session. Hare Krishna.